yourself.
A very good morning to you. Welcome to Engage this beautiful Thursday morning. Remember, we are having a very important discussion of condoms, culture, and HIV/AIDS. And in studio, in just a bit, I'm going to be having a panel of guests who will be helping me discuss this very important topic. It's about time. We have been discussing this since the 80s, but then the time is right. I will give you the reasons why, and why some few people think it's very important to take this as a personal cause and go out of their way to actually do some of the activism we see on the streets. So some of us think they are insane, they are mad, but we have some of those in the studio. They'll explain to us why. Trust you me, you don't want to miss this. At any one point, in case you want to engage with us, or you feel you have a question you need addressed by the doctor that we are going to be having in a bit, you can talk to me via at TV47KE. That's our Twitter handle, and my personal Twitter handle at Angie Wangeshi as well. You can also talk to me via my Facebook, which is also Angie Wangeshi. Now, in studio with me on my immediate left, I have Stanley, who is the king of condoms. He'll be telling us in just a bit why he has decided to have this wonderful title. Next to Stanley, we have from the National AIDS Council, Kiambu County, we have Jane Derry. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We also have Josephat Maina. Karibu sana to the show. This is Engage. I'm hoping we'll have an open conversation. You're most welcome. Then we have Queen. Queen, you're welcome. Quinta, how are you this morning?
I'm fine.
Yes. So you will start by telling us a bit about yourself, and then we'll head on to Josephat, and then we'll go to Nderi, and then we'll come to Josephat Maina. So Quinta.
Yes. Okay, I'm Quinta Millie.
Yes.
I'm 18 years and 6 months.
18 years and 6 months.
Yes.
I like that.
I'm the PrEP ambassador.
Yes.
Yes, in Kichisuru.
Yeah. Are you okay with telling us why you became the PrEP ambassador in Kitisuru?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm the PrEP ambassador because I chose to be the PrEP ambassador because me myself, I am sexually active.
Yes.
And at a risk of getting HIV, so
Yes.
I chose to be the PrEP ambassador because I myself also take PrEP.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Maina. Yes. Tell us why this conversation is very important to you.
Maina Josephat is my name. I'm the county AIDS coordinator for Kiambu.
Yes.
So I coordinate the HIV program at the community level in Kiambu.
Yes.
And this is a very, very important topic for me because partly HIV and related issues are a taboo, and issues to do with condoms are still a taboo. And this is a discussion that we need to open up so that we can make sure that our people are free from HIV, and we can be able to, by so doing, reduce the number of new infections that we're getting in the country.
Yes, in just a bit you'll be telling us exactly what the picture is like in Kiambu County, because you're the person on the ground, and you've just mentioned the new HIV cases that are on the rise. So you'll give us a clear picture of what's going on in Kiambu County. Jane, karibu sana to the show.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Jane Derry. I'm a HIV specialist working with LVCT Health, and my work really is just ensuring that the doctors or the clinicians that you're working with have the capacity to offer quality of care to HIV positive persons. I also do a lot of offering PrEP, especially to young people, and prevent them from acquiring HIV
Yes.
and AIDS.
Let's also not assume everyone understands what PrEP is, so you'll be telling us.
I
know.
We
No, it's
will
all right.
discuss that.
Yeah, we will discuss what PrEP is and why she's the PrEP ambassador.
Yeah.
King of condoms.
Yes.
Karibu huku kwetu.
The only one in Africa.
You're the only one in Africa. No, out of this, you're trusting me, you'll have inspired others. So don't be shocked when you move out of the studio and find other people.
Yeah, I've
also
seen a prince. There's a prince in
There's a
town
you
that I
see
want
now?
to empower.
You're a good role model.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes, my name is Stanley Ngara. I work with the LVCT Health.
Yes.
I've been in this campaign for the last 20 years.
Wow.
So I feel I'm so experienced. I deal in empowering people the importance of condom. Condom is just a tool. It's a prevention tool, like gloves, headgear, any other tool, gumboots.
Helmet on the side.
Helmet on the side, any other safety belt.
Yes.
But the idea of condom that we go home with is condom is for prostitute. So if I remove a condom, everybody will run away. But condom is one tool that we need in every house.
A must.
A must.
Sawa sawa.
Yes.
So ladies and gentlemen, this is what you're in for the next 2 hours. But first, let's take a look at this feature from the UN AIDS. They're talking about the AIDS situation in a foreign country. Remember, this is a scourge that has affected very many countries the world over. It's not Kenya only, but then we're saying the cultural aspect has really affected African countries, such that we're not able probably to go through with the programs that have been put in place just because of this thing called culture. Take a look. The global fight against AIDS is stalling due to lower investment. Marginalized communities missing vital health services and new HIV infections raising in some parts. Globally in 2018, some 770,000 people died of AIDS and almost 38 million people were living with a human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, that causes it. HIV cannot be cured, but the infection can be kept in check by AIDS drugs known as antiretroviral treatment.
We need to update and restart prevention campaigns among the general population because we thought we had won the fight. But in my humble opinion, it's not effective.
Christine Kafando is the founder of the Hope for Tomorrow Association in Burkina Faso, which counsels youth and holds talks on HIV awareness in the country.
We realize that the people most affected by HIV today are the young people aged between 14 to 24, and that is inadmissible after years of mobilization and support. How could we have overlooked a generation like that?
The UN AIDS report says around 1.7 million people were newly infected, a 16% decline since 2010, driven mostly by steady progress in parts of Eastern and Southern Africa. Quite some insight there from Burkina Faso on the HIV AIDS scourge that is happening. We have people who are doing programs that are meant to enlighten or to give more information to people and sensitize them so that they know what exactly they're dealing with. It's about time, don't you agree, guys, that we stop? I don't know, it's been here since the first case was in 1981, yes. I think it was
84.
84.
Yes.
So yet, so many years down the line, we still have a problem. People are shocked when you mention it. People are stigmatized. When you come out with your status, it's a problem still in the village. Why are you doing this?
You see, I'm checking the way things are changing. And the way condom was introduced in our country was labeled for those.
For the commercial sex workers.
For people HIV positive. And to accept it is now quite difficult. Although we are now increasing, the current stock of condoms in our country is like we are buying more than 240 million condoms.
Yes.
So the use is encouraged. But if we check like today, cancer is the key thing. And people are saying better cancer. You'll be taken to India. You'll go to, people will do fundraising for you. People will do, but for HIV, you are stigmatized. One of the biggest problems we have is stigma. HIV is not a problem. It is stigma. You cannot disclose to anybody. You'll be rejected. Or people will have very negative attitude about you, and people decide to keep HIV to themselves. And other people infect other people knowing. Other people get infected without knowing.
Yes.
And that's why we put condom in between. For any person who is HIV positive today, at one time was negative. And that person was infected either knowingly or unknowingly.
Yes.
And that's why the campaign is know your HIV status. Make a decision.
Yes.
So the campaign of condom is not that I give people, if I give you a condom, I'm not telling you to go and engage yourself into sex.
Yes.
Because if I give you an umbrella today and it's not raining, will you just put it on?
No.
No, you will wait for the rain. The condom have an expiring date of 5 years. So if I give you a condom today, you can keep it. Maybe within 5 years, an incident will come and you might need to use it to prevent yourself.
Yeah.
One of the things that we need to bring the culture of people to be nice. Be nice to yourself. If you love yourself, use a condom. Be nice.
Yes.
If you're HIV positive, disclose your status to your partner and use a condom. Be nice.
Yeah.
Use PrEP to protect yourself.
Yeah.
We need now to repress that stigma. We need now that campaign of be nice. And that's why I'm nice to Kenyans by giving them condom, by telling them the words that they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
That is the campaign of be nice.
Yeah.
We want to stop stigma. Be nice. Don't talk to a colleague who is HIV
Yeah.
positive. Be nice. Be nice to her.
Okay, so of all, Stanley, of all the avenues you could have used to spread this message, why use this particular one?
I've been in this field for the last 20 years.
Yes.
And the first thing I used to go with a suit and a tie.
And people just pass you by.
People ignored me, and people started calling me doctor. I'm not a doctor, so I was not
Richer.
consultable. People thought I'm selling insurance. You know, it's not easy to approach people. Others call me pastor, you know. And then I changed. I started using puppets. You see the giant puppets?
Yes.
So it became wise, and people got more attracted. I used to go to the market, and the market could stand still, people to see the puppet. Then I used to use the PA system. The government brought this idea that you must pay for the NEMA, for the nuisance and the noise. I couldn't manage to be paying every county, because if you are going from Nairobi to Murang'a using the PA, you need to pay Nairobi,
for each
you
county.
pay every county,
Okay.
and it was very expensive.
Okay.
So I came up with this idea, and it's marvelous. I've been since 2012.
Yes.
I've reached
It's
to
been
so many people.
So far, so good.
So far, so
In
good.
just a bit, you'll be telling us if you're being paid or not. Why would you be doing it for so long? Huku kila kitu, there's nothing for free.
I do it for free, my friend.
You'll tell us, don't worry. Jane,
Yes,
what has been your experience in Kiambu County? And I'm sure also you have exposure from other counties, but it's just because you work in Kiambu County.
Okay, thank you so much. And just first to paint maybe the HIV estimate in Kenya and what is happening in Kenya. One of the things that is happening in Kenya that we have around 1.5 million people who are living with HIV. And around 1.3 people are taking antiretroviral therapy. So we still have around 200,000 people who are yet either to know their status or even to agree to take their medication. So it's very important for us to understand what are the barriers that we are facing.
Yes.
What are the barriers that we are facing and what can we do about them?
Yes.
And one of the things that you said is about stigma and discrimination. These are some of the barriers that are making our people not to take their medication. Also, in Kiambu County, we also have many people who are yet to be identified, and the estimate is around 25,000. These are the people who are
Very
HIV
alarming.
infected, and they do not know that they're HIV infected.
Very alarming,
So
yes.
as the clinicians, as the county persons, we are working together to ensure that we work together, people know their status, and the very young people do not get infected, because we have around 186,000 young people living with HIV. And that is why we have like Queen, who is our PrEP champion, who talks to other young people who are at risk of getting infected.
Yeah,
And we
because
talk
it's
to
easier
them,
when your
yes,
age mate is
to
telling
use
you
a
about
peer.
it. Yes.
Yeah, a peer discussing. For example, imagine me discussing with Queen, there is this DAWA code. For example, if you ask her how she came to know about pre-exposure prophylaxis, is through a friend. Someone talked to her about it. So we use peers to spread the messages to their peers. And also King here is very useful to us in making sure, you see, just seeing him, he attracts a very big crowd, especially young people.
Yes.
And we have these messages. We ensure that we also distribute condoms to them. We also have programs that are running in Kiambu and Nairobi County on key population. These are female sex workers, men who have sex with men, people who are at risk.
Yes.
And we discuss with them, how can you protect yourself from acquiring
Yes.
HIV?
Which is also a very big cultural hiccup, if I may call it. So,
Yes.
I know we have people who have come to you for testing and also to get help. Have you had people from the LGBT community, and how have you handled it? Because first of all, it's even very hard to get them to just open up. Yeah? True? Have you had any experience with that?
Yeah, we've had, like personally, I can say have had personal experiences with them. But what has happened is, like, for example, LVCT, where Jane and King work, And we have MPEG and we have NOPE who have come in as important stakeholders for us. So they have special clinics that we call drop-in centers, where they have safe spaces where these kind of populations, like she mentioned about the key populations, the sex workers, the men who have sex with men, the LGBT, can be able to get tailor-made services for the kind of interventions that they require, specifically targeting prevention of HIV. And even for those who are infected with HIV, they can also get linked to care and support.
Minor by tailor-made, you mean?
Tailor-made means, like, for example...
Because is it a different way that they get treated from every other person? Or what do you mean by tailor-made?
The medical interventions are similar. Okay. But, for example, if it's a sex worker, they have their own characteristics. So they require people that are more friendly to them. They would require, like, for example, if it's a sex worker, we know that they require, like, testing every quarter. So for them, when they go there, they have their own kind of register, they have their own kind of follow-up, so that you ensure that every quarter they are tested for HIV and screened for HPV, that is a hepatitis virus, and also screened for other STIs, just to make sure that there is closer follow-up. And then there is also peer support system, so that if it's a sex worker, they have other sex workers who are in contact with them when they are out.
So they have like a support group.
They have support groups and peer support systems, because, like whatever Queen said, she has people that she's able to talk to that we might not be able to really interact with.
Absolutely.
So those systems can only be found where we have specialized clinics for them. Otherwise, when you come to public health facilities, maybe we can be able to have friendly services for them, but we cannot be able to really customize them to fit the situations of those different kind of populations.
Yeah. I know what happens when someone doesn't show up. Do you like call them up? Do you follow up, or that's it?
When they are due for their clinics or checkup, they usually called. If we are not able to call them, then what I call the peer support system is, like, they have one person who is in charge of a certain cohort or a certain group of people. So if one person among the group is not able to attend their clinic, then you follow up with that person, asking them, this person is supposed to be coming for their checkup or for their test, or they are due for this or for that. What is happening? So they follow them up. To some extent, some of the healthcare workers will have to go out and try to find them so that they can be able to bring them back, because when we have defaulters outside the community, it becomes a big problem, because now when they were in the first line of medication, then maybe they have to move to the second line. So it's very, very important that they continue taking their drugs as they're supposed to, and health of their health checks as they are scheduled. Yeah,
because, which is, Jen, you're going to be telling us about this. I've done a couple of stories from, let me take an example of Kibera Slum, and that's the greatest issue. They say you take your medicine for a while, when you see your body's back, you stop. Yes. So how big is that problem?
I think the problem is big, especially defaulter, people who default treatment. I think it's a big problem, but when they come back and you educate them and tell them, why should you take your ARVs? Because it's very important for every patient, for every person to know, if I'm HIV positive person, what is required of me, what we call drug literacy. And without that, that is why, and also the other barriers that we discuss, stigma and discrimination. For example, someone is in the house, has not disclosed to their partner. Maybe King is my partner. He doesn't know I'm HIV positive. He doesn't know I'm taking treatment. What will I do? I'll hide my medication. When he's in the house, I won't swallow. When maybe young people go for parties and things like those ones, you find my PA is here, I can't take my pill.
Or even domestic workers, when they're going to their new station and they're dealing with a newborn and they have not said.
Exactly. Not even that. Imagine this domestic worker, they're only given off on Sunday.
Yes.
What happens? Which facility is open on Sunday? So what Minor is saying, that we have tailor-made their care. In a way, if I have a domestic worker who is HIV positive, I discuss with them, when are you available? I will be available at 1. So at 1, there is a clinician to see that particular one person. We do not only deal with the KPs, we also have other programs like Dream Program, where we empower girls to say no to unprotected sex, where we build their capacity, where we do what we call financial capability. We educate them. How can you make your own money and things like those. But let me go back to your question. Why should someone take their medication? We use our fingers. And the first thing why I should take medication if I'm HIV positive is to achieve viral suppression. That is the first thing.
Yes.
So meaning, if I take my ARVs properly, the viruses go down, what we call viral suppression. When you achieve viral suppression, we now say that you are untransmit, you cannot transmit HIV to someone else. What we call U equals 0. That is very important. The other goal that you achieve when you take your medication properly is something we call that your immunity goes back to normal. We have soldiers of the body.
Yes.
Soldiers of the body, they are called CD4 in medical term. So when the viruses are so many in the system, they kill these soldiers of the body. So your immunity is very weak. And that is why you'll find people who are HIV positive and they do not know, and maybe they're not taking their medication, they get infections, what we call magonjwa tegemezi, like TB, pneumonia, meningitis, diarrheal diseases, weight loss, all those, because the immunity
eczema,
is not...
it eczema or just rashes?
Yeah, they get skin conditions,
Yes,
fungal
yes.
infection, and all those things. So that is the second goal, that your immunity goes back to normal. The third one, you do not get infection like TB, pneumonia, and all those infections. The fourth goal is that you live a very quality life. If God said you live for 100 years, you get your 100 years.
Yes.
If you know your lifespan is to be 70 years, you live for those 70 years, but you must take your medication properly. And the fifth goal we usually say is far from these four, because this four is about me.
Yes.
And this one is about the other person.
Yes.
So we take an example of a pregnant woman.
Yes.
This other goal is about that baby. That baby that is in her womb, she is not going to infect that child because she is virally suppressed.
Yes.
The same of this goal is that we have people who are called discordant couples. Discordant couple is a couple that one
is
partner is
positive, the other
HIV
is
positive,
not.
the other one is negative. So when the positive partner is virally suppressed, then it is the chances of infecting the negative partner, they're very low. And so 5 goals, they're very important. And the reverse is true. For example, if you don't take your medication, the viruses go very high. Your immunity get destroyed. You have so many opportunistic infection. You are unable to go to work to provide to your family.
You can't just basically function.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you do not live a quality life, and on top of that, you infect other people with HIV infection.
Yes.
And our data is telling us that every single year, we have 28,000 people are getting infected with HIV.
Yeah.
That is why we are here.
Very
to make
high
sure that
figures.
Very
Yes.
high figures. And the deaths are even higher.
Yeah.
The related deaths. Okay, they have declined, but still, we want 0 deaths.
Yes.
Yes.
That is why we want by the end of this discussion,
Yes.
people feel it is okay to go and get
It
tested.
is okay.
It is okay to
Yes.
find out that you have it. There are coping mechanisms and there's
Exactly.
help.
There
It's
is
not
help.
a death sentence.
There is help.
Queen, my dear, you've been quiet, just smiling the whole time. I want to understand why you felt the need to help your peers cope with this or even avert a crisis.
Okay, as for me, most of my peers, we go to parties, we like doing things that peers do. So I felt the need to educate them because most of them get infected without knowing. But if they could have used PrEP, they could have still remained negative. Like most of my friends that I know, they just went to parties and just did
And
what
the
they
sponsor
did.
culture.
Yeah, and they did what they did and they got infected without knowing there is PrEP. But now, at least, I usually educate the ones that I know and they agree to either take the PrEP, others refuse because they say they have bad side effects. Yeah, but
Yeah,
most
which was good. I'll be asking that after the break. But Queen, help me understand. Don't you think encouraging people to use PrEP is also encouraging carelessness? For example, because you're thinking, I can just go have fun. I'll just do PrEP. Don't you think it's encouraging the youth to do that?
if you know what you want for your life, you can just use PrEP and continue living your life the way you want it to be. If you have goals, you can use PrEP and continue living your life the way you want it to be. It's,
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you go about it? Like, what are you supposed to do? So people are just hearing us saying PrEP, 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 PrEP. So just explain to someone. For example, you see when you meet every new person, assume you're explaining it to me. So what do I need to do?
So, okay,
Yeah.
first of all, PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis, and it's used by people who are negative, and they are sexually active, and at a risk of contracting HIV and AIDS.
Yes.
So you use it for some period of time. If you use it first for 7 days, and it's already in your system. So when you, for example, you go and have sex with someone who is positive and you are negative, you are at a low risk of contracting HIV.
Umeponea.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, what else?
So you fast take it for 7 days, continue.
And then it's now in your system. So
Yes.
if you continue, now after 7 days you continue using it until you yourself, you just decide you want to leave it.
Okay.
Yes.
It's not easier to go the king of condoms where you just carry for yourself. I know once a lady decides to be the one carrying, I know it's already a big problem.
Yeah, it is.
Because once you give your partner, they'll be like, "Mbono umezibeba." You get so you'd prefer doing the prep as opposed to carrying protection.
Okay, first of all, PrEP and condom, they go together.
Okay.
Because PrEP prevents you from HIV.
Yes.
But you're not protected from pregnancy and also
So they
STIs.
complement each other.
Yeah. It's,
Awesome.
when you want to use PrEP, you also use condom. It's dual protection. You protect yourself from HIV, and for condom, you protect yourself from pregnancy and STIs.
And STIs.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought you were just saying, so just do the prep alone and then leave.
PrEP is not a guarantee you
him and
won't
his
get
activism
pregnant.
on the
PrEP
side.
is not a guarantee you won't get
Yes,
STIs.
true.
So you better use dual protection. If you're going to do sex, use PrEP, use condom, and you'll be
Everything.
safe.
Okay. King of condoms. I've had people say, ladies, I'd rather get pregnant. No, I'd rather get HIV/AIDS than get pregnant. How does that make you feel? Because they're saying a pregnancy shows, AIDS does not show. So what are your sentiments on
One
that?
of the big challenge that we have is condom negotiation. When to use condom, how to use condom. Those are challenges. Because we have seen some people will have a condom in their pocket. They will start their activities, but they will use condom later. So exposing people to STIs and pregnancy. The other thing is about choosing to become pregnant over using condom is lack of control of your pressure. There's so many people that believe that nasikia kusema kutumia condom ni kama kukula sweet
Na karatasi.
na karatasi. You know, really? Hata ukikula sweet na karatasi utasikia tu that sweetness but utameza karatasi. By the end of the day utawacha karatasi. And that's the same thing that we need. The sweetness of sex is in our mind, is not in our organs.
Yes.
And that's the message people don't get. That the brain carries the big sexual organ. And what we're trying to put condom in people's mind before.
So that they
The
know
organ.
it's something you should just automatically do. The same way you cannot just wake up and walk in the streets naked. Like it's just part of your daily
Good.
routine.
Yes.
The other issue would be perceptions. Sometimes they'd say condoms don't work. Condoms are not, what is it called? They're not original. They can still expose you to all of these things. So what are some of the concerns you've had people give you out in the streets?
Like, so many people ask which is the best quality condom. I know the most expensive condom is 6,000. I found one. We have condoms that cost 200, 300, 500.
50 bob.
50 bob. And the free condom, we call it Sure, is even more quality and is studded. Kenya is the first country that we have Robin, that we are giving people free dotted condom.
Yes.
And the uptake is very high now. And the whole thing is...
And they're placed everywhere. I've seen them in the public toilets,
Yes.
in restaurants, everywhere.
Yes. And if you go to the history of condom, the first condom was used before Jesus Christ. People are using animal intestine as a condom. So there's a theory of condom and prevention of pregnancy and even the pressure. You know, as you're using condom, you're happy. And you're nice to yourself, you're nice to your partner. But this idea of the best condom that somebody can use, I tell people, is the best you, not the best condom. And the best use is to use the steps of using condom. Check the expiring date, the packing, the condom negotiation. And I encourage people to have the condom negotiation at the dating time. When you are dating, exchanging numbers, and you plan for activity, please discuss about condom. Kenya is where people invite partners for dinner.
But
we
sasa
go for
ataachwa.
dinner.
Because these days, the moment you talk to a girl and she has agreed and then you've already gone into that conversation, she'd think that's the only thing you're after.
One of the things I ask people, and especially young people, How many people request for your number for a date in a day? A beautiful girl, you'll have 4 people approaching and requesting for a number to engage you in a relationship. What is the end result of that relationship? It is sex. So there's nobody who is just want to be a friend, to be following you up without a reason. The end result.
But there are those who abstain until marriage.
Good.
During dating.
And that's why we need prep.
Okay.
Before you know somebody, before you trust somebody, because you can count, like some people have more than 7 relationships by the end of the year.
True.
And they trust and they stop using condom in the process.
Middle, yes.
And that's why we have 2 names, trust and sure. When you're using condom, trust yourself. Don't trust that person. Be sure of your status. Be sure of your partner status. And that brings the importance of condom.
Okay.
Yes.
Jane, what is the situation like? We have cases where we also have a very high rise in cases of school-going children being infected with HIV/AIDS. Where are we drawing this from? Is it because, okay, some were born with it, but is it because some are also very sexually active? And remember, there's also this discussion in schools where they wanted to have sex education included, and people opposed it. Do you think, Mina will answer that one for sex education in school, and then you'll give us the scenario with school-going children? Because I talked to a doctor, I wanted to do an interview, but he was not at liberty because you can't disclose the status of your patients, because you're saying, you see the way we have these supermarkets advertising for back-to-school shopping.
Yeah.
It's the same at the clinic. When it's opening day, those kids are there, especially high school kids. They want to top up on their medication because they have to take it while at school. And at school, they can't tell the resident nurse what is ailing them, so they go with other fake excuses. They go like, I have ulcers, I don't know how, so that they can have also the special diet at school. So it's like a problem. And yet we're not addressing it because people don't, again, culture. We don't want to be exposed. We don't want to be stigmatized at school. So have you had exposure to such cases, and how bad is the situation?
Thank you so much, Aji. And I want to say, especially with over 8 years experience in management of adolescents who are HIV positive, it is a real problem, especially for school-going children, and especially those who are in boarding school, because the school schedule and the drug schedule may not go together. And one of the big problems that we have is that maybe, you see the way at the gate your bags are put upside down,
yes,
and it's
if
checked what is there, and then you
drugs.
ask, what are these? And you see maybe even that nurse, that teacher has never seen ARVs, and then maybe your peers are there, and what is this? What is this?
I
you're
know,
carrying?
like shouting.
Huh? Who are these? You mean you are HIV positive? But I think that really, I think so many teachers have now been sensitized, and we also have another club called OTZ. OTZ is Operational 000. Operational 000 is really working with young people, empowering them, and even being there to say, those are my drugs, and this is my schedule. Some time back, we used to have cases where they're not even allowed out of class to go take their medication. And one of the things is we need to build their capacity. We need to empower them to say, for sure, these are the drugs, I'm taking them, because some of them were infected at birth. We have every year in Kenya, we have 8,000 children who are infected with HIV by their mothers. That is not a small number. We must do something. Our government is doing something, and is doing much, because that number was very high and it has really declined to around 8,000. But still we can do something about these school-going children. And when I talk about OTZ, we have our goals. And these goals that we say we have 3 zeros. And the first 0, that as an adolescent, the first 0 is that you must not miss your appointment.
Yes.
You must not miss your pill. You must have 0 detectable virus. So with these 3 zeros, they are motivated. We bring them together, we have fun, and we tell them HIV doesn't define you. You have your talent, and when we come together, we do not always discuss HIV medication. We have fun. What is your mpango for life? What do you want with yourself? You're a pretty young woman. What do you want with your life? And we ensure that we really motivate them.
Yes.
But we still have parents who maybe, for one reason or another, they do not want their children to be disclosed about their HIV status. And we
Even
have
to the
guidance.
school authorities, which is a problem.
Exactly. And you have guidance that say that when your child is HIV infected, they are 6 years and older, they need to start understanding, what is this that I take my medication? And they want to know, what is a kind of infection do I have? And at the age of 6, we start telling them that you have a germs, and which is this germs. And by the time they are 10, they need to have known the HIV status for them to embrace, for them to understand, why should I take this medication? And I think we have really come a long way, where our viral suppression for adolescents living with HIV was very low. And you can actually tell now why the young people are getting infected is because someone is looking very nice. They're taking their ARVs properly.
Yeah.
Or someone doesn't even know they're HIV positive. They were born with HIV. They have gone for a party.
Yeah.
Do they have a condom with them? Do they? Are they even aware they're supposed to have protected sex?
Yeah.
And that is why we're saying PrEP is here to prevent, especially if you know you are at risk. And now maybe we can a bit discuss, why should people take PrEP? Yeah. And who should take PrEP? I think she did a very good job of explaining who should take PrEP, yes. The situation. But one of the things I think it's very important for us to discuss here is that PrEP is for a negative person. Yes. As a HIV, you must first know your HIV yes. status. Number 2, you must know that you're at risk ongoing, not one time. Because yes. if it's one time, we have another drug called PEP, post-exposure. Yes. So this one you take after you have been exposed. But when you are aware that I'm at risk, maybe because I take drugs, because we have people who reject drugs and yes. maybe who are in a program and they're being done addiction counseling and things like those one. Maybe they go party, they take some alcohol and they're not even aware whether they had sex or not. We also have female sex workers, people with multiple partners, people whose their partner, they're HIV positive. And we are in love. I am not supposed to leave you. We stay together, I take PrEP until you're virally suppressed. So that is someone who should take PrEP. It's very important because some people will start PrEP and then day 3 they're feeling, I can't take this anymore because of side effect. Mm-hmm. PrEP is a very safe drug, but like any other drug, even paracetamol, it has some side effects. And some of the side effects you may find is headache, mild headache. You may also feel nauseated. You may also have some abdominal discomfort. And it's very important for you to discuss with your doctor.
Yes.
When am I going to have this side effect? And one of the things is that your doctor discuss with you that these are for very few days. For example, if she can tell you she only had a few of mild headache and nausea for about 1 week, and she's been taking
subsides. But even the contraceptives have the same thing, so it's not something that someone should use yes. as an excuse. Mm-hmm. Maina, coming back to you, she's saying if you know your child has been born with HIV/AIDS, you should start giving them a bit more information into their condition at around 6 years. Sex education at school, at what point should it start, or should it not even be there in the first place?
Thank you so much. Sex education is very, very important, and we cannot really say at which specific age it should start. It should start as early as possible. Unfortunately, most of the parents, me being one of them, are not able to really know at what point do we start and how do we maneuver. And that's the reason why we find our youth maybe going to Dr. Google and such. Mm-hmm. But
and
it's
their
very,
own
very,
WhatsApp group sharing.
Yes.
And it's very, very important.
Crazy stuff.
When it comes from the parent,
yes.
and then maybe me, Jane, and the rest can be able to come and top up whatever the parent has been able to
yes.
do. Mm. But what we are doing is trying to find ways and means of reaching that youth. For example, in Kiambu, I can say like we have tried to engage the Department of Education through the director, through even the CEC,
yes.
when they have forums, like for example, when the headmasters of schools meet, they give us opportunities to be able to discuss yes. the HIV situation, specifically maybe among our adolescents and young people, tell them about the current status of HIV and what they need to do. We go to the churches and talk to the church leadership, the faith sector, tell them what they can be able to do for us. And we also, as a department, have worked with our partners. Like, for example, they have come up with a program they call Dreams. They have a program they call Options that is trying to also advocate for the use of PrEP. So we try and talk to as many partners as possible. Whoever comes, we try and tell them this is what we need for our youth. Because when it comes to issues of sexual education, it's very, very important. When you look at sexual abuse for, like in Kiambu, around 10 years, our young girls are starting to have sex.
Are sexually active. Yes.
When you go to, like, for example, we can share statistics for Kiambu, although we are not discussing Kiambu in particular here. You go back to the last quarter of last year, we had around 3,700 plus teenage pregnancies, that is 10 to 19 years. For those who came between 15 and 24 years who came to seek contraceptive services, there were more than 15,366. So that tells you they were coming to seek contraceptive services not because they're married, because I don't think we have youth at 15 who are married, but it's because they're engaging in sex, and that sex is not protected. Number two, when you have 3,700 plus who came for ANC clinics and such, then basically they had unprotected sex. These are the ones that we, as a public health facilities and our partner supported sites, were able to really to record.
Okay.
But maybe there were some that went outside the county. There were some maybe backstreet abortions. There were some that maybe within that quarter did not come to.
Okay. Okay. So we'll come back to that discussion. Let's first quickly cross over to Vihiga County, where we have KEMRI launching an innovative study on non-communicable diseases. It's still HELP, so let's cross over and listen in.
Naam, asante sana. Niko hapa katika kaunti ya Vihiga, eneo la Modete, ambako shughuli inaendelea kwa sasa. Ni KEMRI ambao wamekuja hapa kuweza kuhamasisha watu na vile vile kufanya uchunguzi wa ugonjwa ambao hauwezi kuambukizwa kwa njia moja kwa moja. Kwa sasa naibu gavana ambaye ni mwenyeji wa hapa tayari amewasili, na sasa pia yuko katika mfoleni hii, anaendelea pia kukaguliwa kuona kwamba ana magonjwa kama hayo ama hana. Vile vile naye hapa mgeni ambaye ni daktari kutoka KEMRI ambaye wanaendesha shughuli hii na ataweza kutusaidia zaidi kuelewa ni nini ambacho wanafanya hivi kwa leo. Karibu daktari. Ukianza kwa jina lako, tueleze ni nini mnachofanya hapa.
Mimi naitwa Lydia Kaduka, mtafiti katika chuo cha utafiti cha KEMRI.
Ni shughuli gani mmekuja nayo hapa leo?
Leo tunakuja kuanzilisha shughuli ya uhamasisho kuhusiana na huu ugonjwa wa sukari na high blood pressure. Tumegundua ya kwamba watu wengi wanaishi na huu ugonjwa lakini hawajui. Na kwa hivyo tunajaribu kuleta hizo huduma za matibabu karibu na watu tukitumia masoko.
Takwimu zinaonyesha kwamba idadi ya watu ambao wanafariki humu nchini kutokana na saratani ni 50%. Hii inaweza kutatuliwa vipi?
Kwa hivi sasa saratani ni mojawapo ya haya magonjwa yasiyoambukizana, lakini pia Kenya hii huu ugonjwa unaitwa cardiovascular disease kama maradhi ya high blood pressure na diabetes pia yameendelea kuzidi. Sasa chenye tunafanya ni kuhimisisha watu waende kwa vituo vya afya mapema ili waweze kuangaliwa ama kuchunguzwa kuona kama wameanza kupata hizo dalili za haya magonjwa na watibiwe, ndipo wasipate huo ugonjwa.
Katika mradi huu mnalenga kuwatumia wale CHWs, community health workers na nurses kujenga hivi vyosi. Kwa nini mmeamua wao?
Kwa sababu hao ndio watu ambao wako karibu kabisa na jamii. Na jamii wako na uhusiano na hawa community health workers, ndio maana tunataka kufanya kazi nao pamoja, tupeleke hizo huduma karibu kabisa na jamii.
Wakati mnazindua mradi huu hapa Modete, kaunti ya Vihiga, mnatarajia kusambaza eneo zima la magharibi ya Kenya au Kenya nzima?
Huu ni mwanzo tu. Tukiona kwamba hizi kiosk ambazo ziko kwa sokoni zinapeana hizo huduma kwa njia ifaavyo, tutaweka pamoja na Wizara ya Afya mikakati ya kuhakikisha kwamba huduma hizi zimefikia pia kaunti zingine.
Kwa hivyo katika kaunti ya Vihiga ni soko gani na gani ambazo mnalenga?
Kwa hizi sasa siwezi nikakupatia majina ya soko kwa sababu huu ni utafiti. So kuna njia ambazo lazima tupitie ndio tuhakikisha kwamba yale masoko ambayo itakuwa kwa huu utafiti yataweza represent the county nzima.
Asante sana kwa muda wako.
Asante.
Naam. Sasa umesikia kutoka kwa daktari kwamba utafiti huu utaendeshwa katika soko hili na eneo zima la kaunti ya Vihiga kufanya ili kusaidia wale ambao wanaugua haya magonjwa ambayo hayaambukizwi kupata tiba. Kutoka kwangu Mulindi Keri nikiwa hapa Mdete kwenye kaunti ya Vihiga na kurejesha studioni.
Kenya Medical Research Institute, KEMRI, launching an innovative study on non-communicable diseases. Welcome back, guys, to the studio. Mina, you were telling us something about sex education before we went for the break.
Yeah, I was saying like in the county.
Sorry, before we went to Vihiga and now we are back in Nairobi. Sorry, yes?
No problem. I was saying like in Kiambu, what we've tried to do is to ensure that we have been working very closely with the faith sector. We've been working very closely with the Department of Education so that we can leverage on opportunities that are afforded by those because they are ready forums. Like in school, when you go to a school, it's already a forum that is ready for you. And it's very, very important to note here that we're not talking about PrEP or advocating for PrEP because we've forgotten about abstinence. We also talk about abstinence in schools. But then, like I said previously, when you talk about the sexual debut being at around 10, and knowing pretty well, like for example, it's about the young women, they are about three times more probable to get HIV infections than their colleagues male. So what you're trying to do is to ensure that we bring everyone on board that has any interactions with the youth, to ensure that whichever opportunities they can be able to afford for us, we leverage on them.
So when you've approached these people who have probably already organized forums, is there anyone who gives you positive feedback, like they actually engage you now to go to their schools and do more of this? Ama it's just when that's done, that's it?
The support has been very overwhelming. We've had different people organize even forums specifically for us. And one more thing that we're trying to do is to ensure that, for example, using a model that we are calling business process for impact. We as a department do not organize the business process for impact is under the National AIDS Control Council. We are not the people who are organizing those forums, but we leverage on those forums. Like for example, if it is a school that has a function, then we ride on that function to be able to disseminate information, education materials, and messaging for HIV and other services like PrEP when you go to like Kenyatta University, when you go to MKU and they have activities that they are holding, to ensure that there is no opportunity that you can be able to afford and to lose.
Yes.
So the support has been overwhelming. The schools have been calling us and telling us, we're having this forum, kindly come and give information to our pupils or our students. The universities have worked very, very closely with us.
And how about the workplace? Because I think that is also another area that has very alarming rates of new cases of HIV/AIDS. I'm looking at a scenario where we have people complaining that interns are being taken advantage of by their prospective bosses to be, I'm saying allegedly, I've not said it's allegedly. We also have like co-workers doing their thing. So have you penetrated into that area?
Number one, the approach for HIV prevention, we still have what she's talking about, that is biomedical. You're talking about HIV testing, and we also have structural. Structural is about laws and what you can put in place to ensure that our people are protected from HIV. We have the HIV Prevention and Control Act. We also have workplace policies that we also ensure that all our workplaces have, so that we can ensure that we do not have HIV being transmitted in workplaces or people being taken advantage of. They have numbers that you can call if you are violated in your workplace. And we also make sure that with the support of our partners, we do outreaches.
By there you mean the LVCT?
LVCT, okay. But we still have others. So when you go for outreach, we can go maybe to a factory, give messages concerning HIV and STIs, alcohol and drug abuse and such related messages. And then we also offer HTS services, that is HIV testing services. So we plan with them and go to them and take advantage of the groups that they have. And we also ensure that along the way, if they also have activities that you can take advantage of, like for example, when you have some sort of like corporate functions, we also take advantage and go and spread the message and also offer services.
Ngara, what are some of the groups that you've engaged with that seem to be having the greatest concern? Is it Is it the youth? Is it the LGBT community? Like, who do you have side chatting you like? They say, wait, I want to ask you 1, 2, 3 things. Have you also reached out, I would like to know, to the truck drivers? Because that is also another area.
I think King of Condom is all over.
Yes.
I have been able to, if you talk about the top 10 companies in Kenya,
Yes.
Safaricom, Barclays Bank and others, I've been able to get an opportunity to talk to the staff. So one of the things I go to companies and do, we call it Wema Kazini, where we talk live about sex activities. We have the chain of Mpango wa Kando. This is married, having the reception, the chief, the police, everybody in the community.
Yes.
People are able to understand, because men like to see, women like to hear. So we do
accommodating everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm all over. I have gone to churches.
Yes.
I've gone to schools. We have this number we call 1190, where people call and it's free talk. As far as you have Safaricom, we engage people in one-on-one talk. Like on Sunday I was in church and somebody called me, hey King, I messed myself, where can I get PrEP?
Yes.
Now. And we refer people. We have engagement with the youth at college. We have gone to almost all universities in Kenya. Like KU is one of, in fact, the King of Condom was born in KU.
Yes.
The idea came up from KU.
Yes.
So we have a very good relationship with the universities. When we come now to down to the community, we have the truck drivers, we have the garage, we have the mechanic, we have the sex workers, we have the fisher folk.
Yes.
We have the miners, we have the tax drivers, we have the Boda Boda people. Just we did a big campaign last year with Boda Boda in Kiambu, Thika,
where actually cases on the
Jonet.
rise where they actually take those other favors as opposed to payments.
Yes.
Like especially with the commercial sex workers.
Yes.
So you want to get home, you don't have your transport, so that's now the payment.
So what the approach that we need is, I'm just thinking about, like my approach is called 3D approach.
Yes.
Discuss, we are discussing.
Yes.
Do a demonstration on how to use condom, then distribute condom. What we are lacking is a discussion that is tailor-made to the group.
Yes.
Like the Boda Boda people will always have an opportunity to entice women, even the way they ride the motorbike,
Yeah.
they can ride and start putting unnecessary brakes,
Brakes.
so the woman will come. I keep on talking to them.
There's also that discussion where they were saying now ladies are also encouraging it because of the way they sit on the Boda Boda, it should be sideways.
Yes.
And there are complaints that they'll fall off. It's a very funny discussion, but it actually makes sense because
Yes.
some of these things are playing a part. Some
Yes.
are just genuine. You're just thinking, hop on it, get to point B.
Yes.
Yes.
So when we approach the Boda Boda, it's not the same way we can approach people in Barclays Bank or in your company.
Yes, true.
We'll approach Boda Boda with the risk, and we have what we call risk assessment. Like you ask yourself, for the last 3 months, how many partners have I engaged with? Did I use condom? Did I know their HIV status? Do I know my HIV status? Do those partners also have other partners that they engage themselves without condom? The risk assessment is very important as an individual, and that is what will empower you to use PrEP. That's what will empower you to go for a HIV test. That will empower you to have a behavior change, counting the results. The other thing that is very important, when you ask, I want to take you back to school.
Sex education.
Yes, sex education. Me, I'm in a campaign that I'm appealing for the government to buy small size condom. We cannot stop these young people to engage into sex. Because even the homes, most of the people are living, they are very, yes, the homes they are living, there are people who are not advantaged, that parents sleep down, double decker, children on top, and you'll see the children will be engaged and they're telling one another, we, jishikirie mami wameanza tena. They know what is happening. And they'll go to school and discuss what their mama are doing, and they'll do cha mama and cha. We are seeing it live. And so what we need, and the approach is now, call a spade a spade.
Yes.
And let everybody be responsible. Yeah. It is not, if you are HIV positive, it's not your responsibility to go and telling people, hey, I'm HIV positive, use a condom.
No.
It is your responsibility as a person to protect yourself and use condom, not knowing the status of
the other person. And because there are situations where you'd find someone probably asking you, are you okay? And they'd say yes, and probably they have no idea.
I went for
okay.
a VCT, but you didn't know to do what?
Yes.
To see a counselor?
Because or even to say hi.
Or you are
like, I know Jane, I've come to say hi.
Yeah.
Because also there's also a duration, right? Like where you're supposed to, even when you test today, how long are you supposed to stay? Yeah, the window period.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's the confusion of, we have now what you call Simon Makonde style of using condom.
Which one?
People use only for 7 days.
Okay.
When they start trusting one another, they...
Okay,
at what
they're
level,
like, now I'm okay.
Yes, what level do you stop using condom?
Not even what level.
Yes.
Ngara, we have gone too far.
Yes.
At what point do you actually wear it? You see? Because you need to tell us. Are you the king of condoms?
Yes,
you can't just say good and sit down.
No, I'm saying...
At what point are you supposed to wear it?
We talk about power. HIV is about power. Sex is about power. Powerful people, and we have a super, we are calling them superstar men. Maybe in this institution, I don't know, in your company, you have a man who is feared by every woman. If you see that person with that woman, oh my God, take care of yourself. we call them superstars. Eh?
Okay.
And those superstars will only have sex with you once and they disappear. And they will have...
Moving on swiftly.
Swiftly. And they go to another person, they do it, and they're happy. You get it? Now, when we talk about condom, it's about power. To convince, to negotiate, and even to go where condom is and to get a control. Some people will have condom under their pillow and they'll start romance, but they'll not have that power to just slide the hand and pick the condom. Because I talk about sex, most people is an accident. It's a kuangukia. No, kuangukia, random.
Okay.
You are not aware it will happen. It's a dinner. Then somebody move in, you kiss somebody, amejipa. So you are afraid that this person might change his or her mind. So unataka kufanya as quick as possible. And when people come to our clinic, maybe Jane will give us, and somebody turn positive, they just start asking, how?
Who?
Where did I
Or
get
who?
it?
Why?
Who did this?
Why did I not get that condom? Stupid me. You know, there is that...
The regret.
If you are married, you don't have... You just say, oh my God, why did my husband did that? If you're married, you have no choice. But those two outing, those two dating that you go and make a decision to have sex without condom, you start pinching yourself, saying, I'm so stupid. Why didn't I use condom? Oh, king of condom. There's a time I was walking in the street and somebody said, come here. You know, I'm HIV positive, and when I see you, I feel bad. Why were you not there and give me a condom before? So there are some people who have mixed reaction when they see me, but I'm there for some specific people. If you don't use condom, I'm not there for you. If you feel you're at risk, I'm there for you.
Yeah. Also, Ngara, the use of protection is not because of HIV/AIDS only. That is why I brought in the question of at what point, because there are other things that people explore in this day and age in the name of hooking up.
Yes.
So at what point? You still didn't answer at what point.
I think
Is it at the beginning?
one of the things...
Akijipa, or let me use your language. Akijipa,
Si ati
unaji
akijipa.
excuse.
Si akijipa.
Yeah.
Some people will have sex today, but they are not aware that they will have sex. So it is an opportunity that will come, maybe after work. And that's why I say, if people are so genuine, they go home immediately after work, we cannot even have a traffic jam in our city.
So in your mind, where do they go?
They go dating and dropping another, and in the process of dropping and lift, an engagement will come, and a sex opportunity will come, and people will engage. So one of the things, if you will ever think about sex, if you want to talk about sex, if you want to approach anybody into a sexual activity, have a condom. One thing that we should know is we are sexual beings, so we should always have condom. And I know of these young people who maybe they might, I know of thugs who hijacked a car and they told everybody, shikaneni wawili, can't get into that activity. And one person said, oh, my friend, I have a condom. Say, me too, I have a condom. We have female condom, we have male condom. So at this time, we don't allow people to get HIV. We have all the systems to stop new HIV infection, and that's one of the things we say, no new HIV infection under our watch. That's one of our slogan.
Yeah. Yet we still find that the new cases, as Maina has said, are on the rise.
Yes.
So where is the gap, and how can we fill it?
The gap.
Let Maina tell us where is the gap and how can we fill it.
Number one, we have different cultures, and we approach things differently. Like for example, when you come to places where they are not natural, they are not culturally circumcising, then that is part of the issue that we have, because that is it increases the chances of getting HIV infection. But why are these things happening? Number one, it is ignorance. Our people have information, but they don't act. Ngara here will move around and give condoms, but people will just decide not.
They just think he's jobless.
Not to use them.
Promotes
immorality.
Talking about sex and protection and such is still a taboo. And so once we don't talk about sex, we don't make it any safer, because if I hide and you are not telling me the truth, or I am not very sure of your status, those kind of things. Issues of marriage disintegration is a big issue when it comes to issues of migrant workers. So these are part of the reasons why, or the drivers of the HIV infections. But we cannot have something that we can say is standard across the nation. But what happens is you look at a particular area, and once you look at that particular area, you can be able to identify what could be the causes of new HIV infections. When you go to places where you have huge numbers of sex workers, then there is a high probability, because, like, for example, when you look at the numbers, the HIV prevalence among sex workers, 28% is very, very high compared to the national prevalence around 4.8%.
Yeah.
So the sex workers are just a very small population, but then the concentration of HIV is very, very high. But then a number of us will not think that there is any link between me and the sex workers, but it is. There is a very high, there is a very close interaction between us and the sex workers.
Maina, when you talk about culture and disintegrated marriages, I've just remembered something about, there are also cultures that we have adopted. Let me use the Kenyan scene. I don't know about abroad, but probably we've borrowed from the Western cultures anyways. You have people who are aware that they're in a marriage, yes, but they're aware that their partner has someone else and they're okay with it. They're actually, like, it could be, for example, hey, na leo tumekupatia mabibi. It could be Jane, me, and him, and we know that we are all together. So, like, have you ever had a case like that, and how do you approach something like that? Because I've had someone I know say, tell a friend of mine, protect us. Like, I know Jane is going with King, and King is my husband. Like, they know. And so they just say, protect us, as in kila mutu, protect us, because they know they're in that cycle. Have you ever had those cases, and how do you deal with them?
That is very true. And if we go back to the Kenya Demographic and Health Survey, whatever he was talking about, once you get very frequent visits or very frequent sexual interactions with somebody, then there is a very high probability that you're going to just forget about the condom, which makes it very risky. So those things have been happening, and it's always safer that you always use condoms, because once you look at a graph that was in the report, it was telling us for people who have 1 to 2 mpango wa kandos, then going to people who have more than 4 mpango wa kandos, you'd expect, because there are regular interactions with my 1 or 2 mipango ya kandos, then I don't need to use a condom, because there is the frequency of meeting.
You're forgetting also those mipangos probably have other mipangos. Yes.
So for people who have 4 plus mipangos, maybe I see you today, I see you in the next 2 months, there is a probability that I'm going to be asking myself, have you been sexually quenched by somebody else?
Yes.
So most probably I'm going to use a condom. So there is that risk when you think that I only have one person on the side, and that person, because there are regular interactions, then of course they are safer. But then if that is not your wife, it's not your husband, then you probably do not know that they have other people who are like you. So you think that you're safe going out with them, but you are in a higher risk than those other people that you think have been going out with the sex workers and such, because most probably when you go out with a sex worker, there's a probability you're going to use a condom. So that is a reality, it is happening. And when you look at surveys that have been done previously, they tell us that people in regular relationships have had very high prevalences of HIV. even compared to people who are not even in regular relationships. Today you have this
They are
person
more
you drop.
careful.
Because they are more careful.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Queen, you've been very quiet. What are some of the ways you have used to approach your friends and tell them about PrEP? Do you have a WhatsApp group? Do you guys meet over parties? What do you do?
Okay, most of the time I meet with them during occasions, and we also have WhatsApp group. And also, if they are not satisfied with what I tell them, I usually
You have
tell
one-on-ones?
them, yeah, one-on-one talk. And if they are not satisfied with what I tell them, because maybe they are not open enough, I usually tell them to call 1190. It's a number that you call if you have any problem. You can
anonymously, yes.
Yeah, 1190.
Yes.
You can call and share the problem, and they get back to you enough. They are very friendly, yeah, and you can share with them.
And how have people received you so far? Did they like, especially the older generation, did they think you're promoting immorality? What exactly was their reception?
Most of them are ignorant, and others, they take what I tell them because they want to better their lives, because they don't want to get infected. But most of the people, they don't like using it.
They don't like using it?
Yes.
Did they think you're a bad person? That's what I'm trying to get at. Or what did they say about you? Because they expect people at your age probably to talk about helping your fellow age mates to do biashara. But here you are doing PrEP. Like, why that and not any other thing? Did they ask you about that?
Yes, they ask me most of the times why I choose.
Okay, when we come, let's first come back to Jane. I've seen you nodding. Like, what are the, how do people receive PrEP ambassadors?
I must say that there before there was a lot of resistance, but people have embraced it. And for example, we can look at the number of people who have taken PrEP in Kenya. We have over 50,000 people have taken PrEP. So it means that every day people understand. But one of the things I know about Kenyans, if we're not sure of something, we're like, Ebu, use it, I see.
Yeah,
if it works.
Yeah, the guinea pig. Ebu, let me see how this works.
Let me see. Ebu, take it. For example, I had this group of young people who came to me and they were like, as we watu wa mtaa. And one of the things we do, we have group sex.
Yeah,
and we're not sure of our HIV status because we invite people, and the people who come for maybe the party, we have sex with them. What can we do about it? We have heard about PrEP, and we have those discussions. So we discuss, and only a few who took PrEP, and they came back saying, nimeona ako sawa, hebu hata mimi nipatie hiyo kitu, sitaki kupata hii HIV. Wewe unajua msai mwingine sijui.
So
they will discuss.
You, yeah.
So of course they want to know more.
Yes.
And I think, for example, the government of Kenya have a PrEP portal. PrEP portal is where you can even assess your own risk. And if maybe you're unable to get all that information, you can call 1190, which is a toll-free, wherever line you're using.
Whatever
you
time,
just call, and the counselors are there, and you see it's virtual. So you're not even worried that someone is judging me, because a lot of young people, they fear being judged by their peers, or also by the parents. For example, Queen, her mom supports her to take PrEP.
Yes.
That is very supportive. She's the most
and very
mother
unique,
I know.
because
And
not
very
every
unique.
mother would,
yes,
in this cultural context,
yeah,
would agree to that.
With information, I think people are embracing PrEP and they're ready for it. But of course, in case you have any information, we're always ready to give the full information.
Yeah. So Jenny,
and we also
about,
make sure that we assess you completely to
Yes.
make sure that in case you have any contraindication or you're not eligible or you want to abstain, we don't give it to you. Because we discuss all the other way of preventing yourself from HIV. PrEP is just one of them.
Yes.
But you have so many other ways that you can also prevent yourself from HIV.
Yes, Jen was asking, so what else disqualifies someone from using PrEP apart from if obviously you're negative, then you don't qualify. How about pregnant women, people with other magonjwa tegemezi?
Magonjwa tegemezi, opportunistic infection.
Yes.
So for I think it's very important for us to understand who take PrEP, and I think we discussed that.
Yes.
Now, it's very important for us to discuss who doesn't take PrEP.
Yes.
And the first person that should never take PrEP is a HIV positive person.
Yes.
if you know you're HIV positive person, you know, some people, because of the fear maybe of going to a clinic, they will decide, see, hata inasikianga
PrEP inaweza fanya kama ARVs. It's not the same.
It's not the same. Yes. So you should not take PrEP. The other person that should not take PrEP is in case umeenda ukaongea na daktari wako and the doctor is saying that you have an issue with your kidney. So that one, you do not take PrEP. But that is very few number. In fact, if you look at the people who are excluded not to take PrEP, it's less than 1% of the population. The other person that should never take PrEP is, for example, you know you won't adhere to it. It's better you take another mode of preventing yourself from acquiring HIV instead of taking PrEP and, you know, I won't take it. Because for it to be effective, it must be taken on daily basis, on time. For example, if you decide I'll be taking PrEP at 9, it must be at 9 every single day. I also to say that pregnant women and you are at risk of HIV infection, you are supposed to take PrEP. PrEP is safe, very safe in pregnancy, so you can take. So we have just 2 people.
And lactating mothers? Even
lactating mothers is very safe. And you protect yourself, you protect your baby. Because one of the ways that HIV is infected to other person, breast milk is one of them. Yes. And we don't want our children to be infected. So it's very important for us to understand all this and make sure that the only person who doesn't take PrEP is a HIV positive person, or your doctor has assessed you and said, no, you can't take PrEP.
And when your doctor has assessed you and says you can't take PrEP, is it people with high blood pressure? Like what scenarios are we talking about here?
Usually, we do tests. We do some tests called baseline tests. And this baseline test is to check your organs. Are they okay? And any person with a kidney disease is not allowed, because, you know, every drug is excreted by our organs. So in case your organs are not okay, meaning maybe they have an issue, they are unable to excrete the waste in your system, then we advise you that maybe you can use condom. You can reduce the number of partners you have. You can make sure that your partner is taking their ARVs properly for them to be virally suppressed. And there it is. So that is one of it. The other people who should not take PrEP is, for example, the people who swell their legs and maybe their face, because that is a sign that your kidney is also not working properly. Well. But the exclusion criteria is very few people. Okay. So anyone who is at ongoing meaning it's something that happened many times. For example, you have sex when you're drunk many times, you are eligible to take PrEP. You have multiple partners. You do not know, you know, nowadays people do not know their partner's HIV status. You do not know your partner's HIV status, or you do not trust them. You unajua ako kagat kana kwambia, this guy,
whether you're in a marriage or not.
Yes, whether you're married or not, you can take PrEP. People who are undergoing GBV in their family, that is gender-based violence. Yes. Maybe this person is beating you up or violating you because they have someone else. You should take PrEP and protect yourself. People who get STIs, HIV is an STI. So meaning, if you get other STI, for example, gonorrhea, syphilis, you are also at risk of acquiring HIV infection. So it's very important to know that there was a third party in your relationship and you need to protect yourself also. Yes.
So when you're taking PrEP, what is the safest time one can take?
Usually we say we do not have the safest time. But what you do, we offer what we call patient-centered approach or person-centered approach. We look at your schedule. What time do you wake up? Do you drink? What time do you come back home? And you agree which is the best time that you can take your medication without forgetting. And so someone says, I think in the morning is the best time.
So another person basically you're saying the time has to be consistent. If you're doing 6 a.m., it has to be 6 a.m. every day. Yes. So what happens when you do 6:30?
So what?
Let me use this language. It still work?
Yeah, it will still work, but usually we say that it's very important for you to keep time, because what happened, this is a once-a-day drug. A once-a-day drug meaning that this drug, if I take at 6 a.m., tomorrow at 6 a.m., I won't have any drug in my system to protect myself from being infected by HIV virus.
It's also the same with ARVs. It has to be taken at the same time.
Yeah, it has to be. Every drug needs to be taken on time. But you know, sometimes we say asubuhi jioni, and no, it's supposed. If it's 8 hours, you need to take your drug at 8 hours. After every 8 hours. So it's very important. So meaning, if you're supposed to take at 6 and you take at 6:30, that means there was 30 minutes that there were no drug circulation in your system. But if you take it immediately, you remember it will still protect you. But we always advocate, take it. And by the way, taking drugs on time is you develop habits. It becomes habitual. That even if I haven't taken, I'll still, what is it that I haven't done? What have I not done? And you remember I haven't taken your drugs. And one of the things we also request, just have a beep in your phone.
Yeah, that
it
reminds
says,
you, a reminder.
Hi, and then you just know, oh,
it's time to
it's
take
time to protect myself. In fact, I tell them, do not even say it's time to take my medication. Even the HIV positive persons, I tell them it's time to up my game. It's time to make my life better.
Positivity around it.
Yeah, having the positive energy, and it's awesome.
Yeah, Queen, you're just smiling there. At what time do you take your medicine? Do you have things that remind you when you should take it, or for you it's just a natural thing? And then tell me your personal experience with PrEP, and what side effects did you go through? Are you to pimples? Just tell us your personal experience when you started taking it and now. How long have you been taking it?
5 months.
5 months. Okay. Yes.
Okay. First of all, I usually take it at 8:30 every day, and my personal experience. First of all, the first week taking the drug, it was hectic. I remember I had severe headache and nausea, but because any other drug had side effects, and I knew what I wanted for myself, I have goals. So after the side effects, I was okay with it. Yeah. And also, my mom is very supportive because she usually tells me, you know, we are in a digital world, and in the past, if they could have found out about PrEP, they could not have been people who are HIV positive right now. So she's very supportive, and yeah, she just supports me taking the drug, and she doesn't see any bad reason for me not to take the drug, because I also told her what I'm protecting myself from, and she knows everything about PrEP, and she's okay with it.
Okay.
Yes.
So where can people access this medicine? And does it need to be prescribed, or you can just do over the counter? Like, how do you go about accessing it? And is it expensive?
Accessing it in government facilities, it is free, but in private facilities, I hear it's at a fee, but a small fee, and you should go to the doctor so that there are levels of PrEP. So when you ask the doctor and you interact with him or her,
they get to know what you need.
Yeah.
So it's custom made for each person.
Yes.
Is it yes or no? Which is it? I'm seeing you doing yes and no.
Okay, usually,
yes.
I think it's very good information, because that is how we get to know what information do young people want. And PrEP, it has 2 drugs, and these drugs are HIV. They're called antiretroviral. They're in the same class with the HIV drugs, but they are for different purpose. So these drugs, we have 2 of them. You can use 1 or 2, but the Kenya government has advocated for the use of 2 drugs combined in 1 pill, meaning you just take 1 tablet a day. And there is something called PrEP portal. If you do PrEP portal, it will bring you to that page, and you can actually log in and put on your location where you are, and it will actually tell you are at this particular point, and you can actually access PrEP 100 meters from where you are. That is how easy the government of Kenya has made sure that every HIV negative person protect themselves from acquiring HIV, and every HIV positive, they take their medication well, so that we zero new HIV infection.
So if I want free medication, I go to the PrEP portal.
Yes.
If I really can't access that, then I go to the private institutions, but at a fee.
For the PrEP portal, it will take care of both those that you'll buy, those that they are free, everything. So you can actually be told that there is a chemist, there is a government facility, there is an NGO also offering. So you have all the choices.
Okay.
You have all the choices to choose from. That I want to go to a chemist, but you must be thoroughly assessed. Whether you're going in a chemist whether it's a government facility, whether it's an NGO.
So someone here just watching cannot just say, let me now run to the nearest chemist and get my dose. Even that, when you get to that chemist, they have to thoroughly assess you.
They will actually tell you what you need.
Ah,
One
okay.
is a HIV test, so you'll do a HIV test. They will also assess you, and they'll discuss what are some of the side effects, how do you protect yourself, what is the best time you can take PrEP, and things like those ones.
Yes, Ngara, you said.
Yes, I was saying the entry point of PrEP is VCT. So if you go to any VCT center, you can get a lot of information. You must know your status. So PrEP and PEP, the entry point, most of it is
at the VCT.
VCT,
We also have
Maybe
various
you
ways
can
of
say-
also self-testing these days.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
You'll tell us more about that. But first, let's take a short break. When we come back, we will be releasing Queen here. Thank you very much for giving us insight into PrEP and what the youth can actually be doing to safeguard themselves. And then I will have someone else on board who will give us now a personal journey with HIV/AIDS. Yes, also a youth as well. Yeah, so it's also important to actually destigmatize this and continue having this conversation. Let's take a short break. When we come back, the condoms culture and HIV/AIDS discussion continues.
Huu ni mji wa Kitale unaofahamika kwa ghala la chakula kwa taifa la Kenya. Mji ambao unapatikana katika kaunti 026, yani kaunti ya Trans Nzoia. Kutoka hapa tutakujuza matukio ya kipekee na kufahamisha matukio hayo kwa ufasaha mkubwa wa aina yake.
Nyanya yetu inaharibikia kwa barabara. Juzi tumekuwa na mama ndaka amejifungua, lakini hakuna pikipiki, hakuna gari yenye inaenda. Bunge kama ni Bokose, ako wapi? Akikuja aonekani.
Kutoka mji wa Kitale, mimi ni Boniface Barasa na hii ni TV47.
Twende sasa.
Nipe countdown. 2, 1.
Nakuletea matangazo moja kwa moja kutoka kongamano la 6 la ugatuzi hapa Kirinyaga County.
Hapa ni mjini Meru.
Tupo katika eneo la Wetavia, kaunti ya Kiambu.
Hivi leo tuko Nairobi Cinema.
Hapa ni Kina, ukipenda Kinango.
Usiwache hiyo dream ipotee.
Kama huyu amekataa, tafuta mwingine, maisha isonge mbele.
Mabadiliko haya yangali yanazua msuke baina ya washikadau.
Baadhi ya changamoto hizo zilikuwa ni kama vile ukosefu wa maarifa.
Wameweza kupeperusha bendera ya Kenya.
Tutaingia kwenye mapumziko kidogo.
Safi! Na hii, mpenzi mtazamaji, ndio
TV47,
macho na sauti yetu.
Naona umevaa jezi ya Liverpool na unaitwa Messi. Kwa nini?
We use it for cleaning, cooking and farming.
It may not look like much, but the sound it produces can be magical in the hands of an expert.
It's going to be my first time bordering a train.
Ukiwa ndani ni mandhari mazuri ya kuvutia. Rangi tofauti tofauti za kupendeza zimeng'aa kote. Moga ni mfano mwema kwa wanakibera na Wakenya wote kwa ujumla. Nikiripotia TV47 ni mimi Michelle Nyabuto.
Social Kadere nikiripotia TV47 Nairobi.
Ni mie wako Sylvia Adhiambo. Nasema hapa ndipo, hiki ndicho kituo chako na hizi ndizo taarifa.
Today I've invited my friends to come for housewarming.
Wow. Hey, umepotea. Long time.
Nani unasomea hivyo sasa ni? Unamsaidia?
Somei nakwambia ile ukweli yule unafanya hapo si kwa.
Pesa ni yenu.
Mbona amefanya maendeleo, ametualika kwa nyumba yake, inakuuma.
I'm so disappointed with my friends. Wananiita kanono kila saa. Na mimi sitaki hiyo maneno. Hawajakuwa wakijua kwa nini weight yangu imekuwa iki-increase.
If you don't give me full information, how do you expect me to know?
Very warm welcome to you. This is Engage this Thursday morning. Remember, the conversation is condoms, culture, and HIV/AIDS. We had Queen, who was with us earlier on, but now we have PP in the house. Pascaline Peter was going to be telling us her personal journey with HIV/AIDS and why she's an activist and how her journey has been and what she has seen in her line of activism and trying to get people help in one way or another, because it is help, because it's rarely where you find someone who's gone through, who has HIV/AIDS and they're sharing. Most of the people, like some of the guests have mentioned, like Ngara and Jane, they infect others on purpose. So Pascaline Peter will be telling us what she's been doing different. We'll also have the discussion back here, the panelists. We still have Jane, we have Ngara, the king of condoms, still with us, and we also have Minor in the studio with us. But first, let's take a look at Kevin Onyango's story, who was born in Siaya County, and thereafter he moved to Nairobi after the loss of his close friend through HIV/AIDS 5 years ago. It was then that he made the decision to create awareness to youth through his condom outfit. What you're about to watch is a report by Vanessa Ndavi.
Kevin is a 23-year-old whose dream was to become an engineer. However, after the death of his parents and lack of school fees, he was forced to drop out at the class 8 level.
Kwanza mimi nilianza class 3, sikuenda baby class. Hizo sikuenda, nilianza tu class 3 juu ilipata kama mimi ni mrefu. Na sasa wajua nikapelekwa tu direct class 3. Na mama fulani ambaye alikuwa atoka huko Korokocho alijitolea tu kunipeleka. Baada ya familia kunikuuza, kuona mimi sio maana, ndio.
Kevin narrates the pain of losing his friends through HIV/AIDS, and his tears in his eyes is a clear evidence of the heavy burden that he bears.
Wangu wanne nikiishi kwa mtaa Korogosho, na imekuanga uchungu sana kwa ule rafiki mmekuwa mkiasol na yeye, mkifanya vitu pamoja. Though nilikuwa mdogo nikiwa chokora bado. So unajua like tulikuwa tunapata vitu tunashare na yeye, tukipata pesa tukinunua mchele ya 10, ilikuwa inapimwa kwa karatasi. So inabidi tunagawana na yeye. Wakati sasa walikuja kupata ugonjwa, ikakuwa yani ako na stress, hataki kukaa na watu, hata mimi rafiki yake anitaki. Sasa anaona ni kama anaibika, unaona, hadi ikafika mahali akaaga dunia.
After thinking long and hard about how he could create awareness to the youth on the importance of using condoms, he came up with the idea of donning a suit exclusively made out of condoms, complete with complementary accessories.
Nini nitafanya yenye watu itamake watu wapate awareness through kenye limfanyikia. Nikatafuta hizi condoms, nilipata zimetupwa. Juu kuna watu maybe mtu anaenda anachukua box, anachukua kadhaa zimebaki anatupa.
Many don't know his story and see him as one who has lost his mind. But for Kevin, it's a simple case of who feels it, knows it. Hence, why he sacrifices 3 to 2 hours daily on the streets of Nairobi.
Woi, wazimu ndio huyo. Jamani, tokeni muone, ndio wazimu. Mimi naye kwa roho yangu najua mimi sio wazimu. Saa zingine wanaongea fani hadi mimi mwenyewe nasikia kugonga mtu. Lakini najua kwa roho yangu ni nini nafanya.
Every accessory that comes with this suit drives a message home, as Kevin explains.
Sasa hii longi, hii nilishona na 400 condoms. Zenye nilipick from garbage. Nikaenda nika approach tailor fulani. Aka kashati. Hii kenye nilifanya nikashona hii ni baridi. Kuna mali nafaa kuenda mali kuna watu wengi, lakini weather joy inanipeleka mbaya. So nikaona nikishona hii at least itani boost kuzuia kifua. Hii board hapa imeandikwa HIV is not a fake gold. Imeandikwa HIV is not a fake gold, kuwa true. Sasa mimi ile nazingatia sana ni kuwa true. Hii nimeandika hapa sure condoms free from the government of Kenya. Unaona? Niliandika hivyo kunipa ile access ya kuenda show yoyote kufundisha my youth about HIV and AIDS. Unaona? Hapa ndani ukiangalia kuna condoms ndio hizi. Hii sasa ni ya kukipa watu alert. Nikipata nyinyi mko rada, mtajua mjui. Hii napulizia kweli kweli. Your design, unaona?
Passerbys always stop and stare and mostly try to understand his message as well as applaud him for the great job he is doing.
Yeah, ni aje bro, unatoka wapi? Naambia natoka Badogo. Fare kwenda ni pesa ngapi? 50 bob. Ananipea 50. So nasema nashukuru tu.
Yeah. Kulingana na kenye huyu kijana anafanya imeniguza ndani ya moyo kwa sababu HIV ni kitu ambacho kiko na kinatudhuru na tunajifanya ni kana kwamba hakitudhuru. Na hakuna ambaye ako ready ku come out very clear na kuzungumza kuhusu HIV.
When we asked him if he has ever been to church to create awareness, this is what he had to say.
Nikiwa tu hivi, nikaenda nikakaa. Ilikuwa katho. Nakwambia nilirushwa nje. Nilirushwa nje kwenda peleka wazimu huko. Unaona? Sasa mimi nikasema, kwa nini wananifukuza?
HIV knows no gender, young or old, and Kevin has urged Kenyans to use protection every time when need be, as this monster waits for no man.
Kila kitambo, si kama kitambo, yenye utapata mseni mkonda useme, huyu ako nayo, huyu mkonda ako nayo. Hapana. Siku hizi mnono, mkonda, huwezi jua. Unaona? Juu kitambo tulikuwa tunapata nywele
Vanessa Ndavi, TV47, Nairobi.
Quite a very interesting piece there from Vanessa Ndavi. We have King of Condoms. You've mentored someone in Nairobi. Unamjua?
Yeah,
yes.
we are chatting on Facebook. I want to meet him and I want to design him better because I think it's damn expensive to be using live condom every day. I want to make a good gear for him because if you count 400 condoms every time he's making that outfit that means 400 people will be missing the condom.
So he's wasting.
No, I don't want to use the wasting. But if they are expired, one thing I like, they are expired. Okay. And I think we are not going to get expired condom very soon. So I need to, the way we need to discuss, I'm going to donate a very good attire for him to be able to be going in public. He's doing a very good job and I really appreciate because he have taken the print, so he's one of my sons and I have mentored. I need so many people to come out and we talk. And these are people who are not maybe educated, but they have passion. And you see, in the world of NGO and government, they only employed people who have
paperwork. Yes.
But you see, those people who have paperwork cannot do what he's doing. There's nobody who can embrace and employ him to do the same.
We need the kienyeji approach, because
we need
kuna
the
wale
orthodox.
in the office,
yes,
they are doing their thing and the paperwork, but we also need you and Kevin.
Yes, we need people
who are crazy
enough to
and
go.
Let me just use brave. Who are brave enough, because I'm sure umeitwa mwenda wazimu mara kadhaa.
It's so embarrassing. And I
what was the craziest incident you had?
There's a pastor, and I forgot to pick his number, but a pastor who said, you are a devil agent. You're just promoting immorality and sex. Then I told him, what? Did I create sex? Sex was created by God. And people use sex for so many reasons. When is the last time you had sex? Said, see, you. Then we started fighting, but we became friends. We had a cup of tea, and he was able to understand. Because you see the impact of HIV at individual level. When you go home with HIV alone in your house, that thing is, the impact is big. Because you not go to work, you cannot feed your people. When you are sick, you don't go to work. The stigma around you, it's so many things, and you don't have anybody to share. Yes. If you can go to people who have shared in public, like Assumpta Wangora, she's my good friend. The first time she disclosed her status, the shopkeeper could not even accept to pick her money. I have a friend called this lady. We work with her, that the whole family could not even allow her to bury the husband. And there are so many issues about HIV, and if we start demonstrating and telling people, my friend, let's talk about sex, let's talk about HIV, we are going to stop new HIV.
Yeah. Jen, very briefly, and Mina and Perpetua, Pascaline, sorry, I know a Perpetua somewhere, Pascaline, very briefly, what's your take on Kevin's approach?
I think one of the things I would say, Kevin is a great person, and especially just taking it upon yourself that I want to create HIV awareness. I think if every one of us took upon themselves and say, I want to do something about it. For example, let me just give you an example. I have a 7-year-old daughter who actually at some point asked me what is HIV. And when we discussed, I came to learn that in the estate, she has discussed the same 10 other children.
Like
and all of
mommy,
them,
like
they
daughter.
came and they want to know what is it, which is that germs. And I think it's every person's business to discuss this and how you can protect yourself and be infected. Where can you get support? So awesome job.
Awesome job. What's your take on Kevin's approach?
I've met the guy, and I think he's doing something that is very bold.
Yes.
And personally, beyond even having one-on-one interactions, I think because I've walked along with him for a very long time, every time that you walk around, I think you generate debate about HIV. Something that you cannot just go and tell people that we need to generate debate about HIV.
Yes,
so my only worry is that I hope we can be able to generate HIV positive debate so that people can get safer, people can be able to protect themselves.
Yes.
We can be able to demystify condoms and then be able to have these discussions and these conversations like any other conversation. Because if I went to hospital and I was diagnosed with malaria, it's very easy for me to come and tell people I'm not able to come to work today because I have malaria. But when it comes to issues, condoms issues, HIV issues, sex and such, we do not come out boldly and talk about them. So I think that's a very bold move. And for us, when we see people taking an active role,
it's a good thing.
Level, we hope that if many people can be able to come on board, and then our army is bigger.
I also hope, I also hope you guys can manage to engage the schools more because of the problem I told you about the school-going children. Because you find that even then, they're still at an experimental age. True. So if you know your status and you're busy doing your own funny things, probably on Saturdays or Sunday when they have downtime, it could be also another looming problem for Kenya.
True.
Back to you, Mama. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This is Engage, where we are open as possible and we try and help someone out there who's watching. So when did you discover that you are HIV positive, and what has been your journey so far? Very briefly. I know it's a long story, but try and
All right, my name is Pascaline Peter.
Yes.
I'm 30 years old.
Yes.
I'm mother of one. And I'm living positive. This is my 6th year. And as I always say, I'm not ashamed about being HIV positive. It happened, it happened. All right. I can't exactly tell when I got infected, but for sure, my son is 10 years now, meaning he was born in 2009. Of course, test was done, HIV ni lazima at that time. It was negative. My next test after I gave birth was in 2012, which was okay, was still negative. But in 2014, yes, I tested positive.
Yes.
So I can't tell between 2012 and 2014 when I got infected. It wasn't easy, as you know. Nowadays, that moment you get your HIV positive results.
Yes.
It's never easy. It's not easy. Then again,
what went through your mind? Were you angry? Was it denial? Like what
many things. Actually, I can say confused emotions. I didn't know what to do. Like how? Aje sasa. You know, depending on the lifestyle you stay in.
Yes.
Kuna ule mtu, even if it tests positive, you are kinda ready.
Yes.
But there is a time you can get a positive result, and the life you've been living, unasema,
you don't understand.
No, I don't understand how.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, I did like 20 other tests in different facilities, in different towns. Unasema labda kits za Machakos.
Zime-expire,
let me try the Nairobi. Let me try the Mombasa. Maybe I'll get a different result.
Yes.
Nothing changed. They were all turning positive. I was still in denial, but I started medication like immediately. I sank into a very deep depression. I've been suicidal, not once, not twice. Then you don't know who to talk to. Then like 5 years ago, utaambia nani uko na ukimwi. In this generation, you are not born positive.
Yes.
Haujapata accident mahali.
Yeah.
How did you get? Definitely through sex.
Yeah.
So I started taking my medication, but that time ilikuwa tu. Leo nikikumbuka, I'll take. Tomorrow I don't. The next week maybe I go clubbing on Friday. I'll remember on Tuesday. That kind of life. So it came to a point. First line medication failed on me. There is what we call the viral load, the number of virus in your blood. At that time, it should be 50 copies and below. So that time, my viral load was like 100,000. So 50, now it's 100,000, and it should be 50 and below.
Yes.
So first line medication failed on me. So I had to be switched. So you can imagine in first line, I'm only supposed to take 1 tablet. Sasa hapa, I'm supposed to be switched to second line. Nimeze 4 na moja ilikuwa inanishinda.
So taking medication was a challenge for you?
Yes, it was a challenge. There's a time I had to tell people I'm diabetic. Unajua ni nini
na dawa.
Yes, you have to come out with a strategy.
Yes.
I'm diabetic.
So you get the results, you're shocked, and then you accept, and then continue doing your medication. Yes. And then at what point do you feel you have the courage to now be an activist and share your story?
Yes, that was my next point.
Yes.
So I was switched to second line. That was in 2016, September. I started being serious this time. I set alarms, saa 3 asubuhi, saa 3 usiku. Then something happened. Kumbe when I was switched to second line medication, I was being given the wrong drugs, an overdose of what I should be taking. So 1 year down the line, exactly after, in 2017 September, after I was switched, I had a very serious drug reaction. I just woke up one day. I couldn't walk, I couldn't see. I was peeling like the whole body. That is when I was admitted to Kajua. I'd been taking the wrong medication. I was admitted, then nikatoka hospitali for like 2 weeks. So, people started talking. Okay? Umeenda kumuona, umeenda, have you seen her? So, kwa wale watu, they were seeing HIV positive kitambo, how people look like. those who are brave could say, hiyo ni ukimwi. You know. People could talk.
Yeah.
I had disclosed to some few friends.
Yeah.
But it came to a point, I was like, I need to talk to someone. If I had someone I can talk to,
It
then
would
I-
make it easier.
Yes, then I said to myself, why can't I be that someone
Yeah.
when people will come talk to?
Yeah. Pascaline, we're running out of time, but also you started taking your medication, you had a problem, and then now you started being serious about your medication because you understood the importance of it. What would be your like, what did you go through while you're taking medication? Probably side effects, or did you need, like, do you need to have a particular diet? Like, just break it down for us briefly as we wrap up.
Okay, actually, about maybe something like eating.
Yes.
At times, it looks like indirect stigma. Ukikuja uniambie, you know,
Sambono unakula chipo.
Someone living with it, ati ukule vizuri, ufanye tizi, please.
Okay.
Even the HIV negative people need to eat well.
Yeah, and exercise. Yeah,
exercise.
Everyone needs to.
It's not about that I'm HIV positive, kula vizuri. Hata wewe negative, you should eat well.
Yeah.
Ama?
Yeah.
We
True.
all need. But the good thing is, you have to eat well, take your drugs well.
Yeah.
You don't have to disclose to anyone. Disclosure is not easy.
Yes.
Stigma will still be there, although we are trying to end it.
Yes.
People will still stigmatize you online, you know. You post something, people are there, and that person, the only status he knows ni yake ya WhatsApp. You don't know your HIV status. And you are there stigmatizing me. You try stigmatize me, I get a chance to educate you.
Yeah, very good.
Yes.
Very
Positive
important.
living. Take your drugs.
Yeah. Way forward, your last sentiment, what do you think the best way forward is? Your parting shot.
Parting shot.
Let's get tested. Nimekusaidia.
That is one of them.
Okay.
If you're not tested, get tested. Know your HIV status.
Yes.
If positive, take your drugs. It's not a death sentence. If negative, maintain. We don't need new HIV infections. Tumetosha. Watu ukimwi wametosha.
Umetosha.
Basi imejaa.
Basi imejaa. Career imejaa pia.
Interesting. Maina, your parting shot?
Finally, I do wish to encourage everyone
Very briefly,
to,
yes.
to get the right information, to get tested.
Information is power.
And everyone is a stakeholder in the response to HIV, so that you ensure if you're HIV positive, do not transmit to anyone else. And if you're HIV positive, remain HIV positive, but make sure that you take your drugs. And also ensure that if you're HIV negative, whatever it takes, make sure that you do it to remain HIV negative.
Nice one. Jane?
I think for me is be that person to support the other person. And if you know someone, or you're there, you're not taking your medication, please take your medication. It's not a death sentence. We can be well, all of us. Thank you.
Gara?
Yeah. PrEP is the latest strategy for prevention of HIV infection, and condom is the cheapest, easiest. You don't need medical prescription to use condom to protect yourself. Always believe in condom and trust condom.
Anyone who's probably not comfortable with reaching out to me, how can they reach you, each one of you, for a one-on-one discussion? Apart from the 1190.
Yeah, you can get me on www.kingofcondom.co.ke. You can get me on my phone. It's 24 hours. 0722128238 is very simple. You can call LVCT. You can get us in every LVCT website.
Okay.
You can get us.
I think for me, if you call 1190, their office is next to mine. You can always tell them to connect you to Jane. I will talk to you. We can even plan we meet. You can also visit us in our facility. We have one-on-one discussions.
Thank you, Jane. And you, Maina?
I am available on 0720 929 565. But beyond there, like I said, I work with the National AIDS Control Council. The National AIDS Control Council has developed structures. Each and every sub-county has a coordinator for the AIDS program, and it is very easy to get them. Mostly they are either in facilities, in public health facilities or hospitals, or in other offices like maybe the DC's compounds.
Okay.
Yes.
Pascaline, how can one reach you if they want now that peer counseling?
Social media, Facebook, Pasi Matreva, Pasi and space Mama Trevor, Instagram, Pasi_Matreva, Twitter ilinishinda. When you DM me on Facebook, make sure you mention on the wall because I have like 1,000 pending.
Yeah, mention. We watched you via TV47.
Yes.
That is all we had for today on Engage. Remember, it is a show that comes to you every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, where we have candid discussions like we've had, real life stories. We're not just saying stories out of the blue. So we have this one-on-one, we have closure for people who don't have. And thank you very much, guys, for making time. As we wait to get on board with Engage next week, we'll also try and discuss the issue of special groups and HIV/AIDS. For example, we are talking about the physically challenged people, because they also have needs.
Yes.
So how do we address these people? So as I bid you goodbye, let's cross over to the Supreme Court and listen in. Until next week, bye-bye.
As other major issues, we agree with that. But the division of revenue